about no different than with music when it comes to those royalties and those splits. We're talking about ownership of something that collects money long after we're dead. A Michael Jackson record, we're talking about flipping the publishing on. This is something he could have passed to his family. People still playing Michael Jackson on the radio, still seeing the metadata tag for Michael Jackson records on Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc. Oh, there's money coming behind that.
All right, welcome everyone to the Speak Your Life podcast. My name is Andre. I'm your host. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. We want you to stay tuned, be a part of the Speak Your Life family. We want you to be a Speak Your Lifer. And we want you to be on YouTube as well. If you haven't already, subscribe on there because we're trying to get our channel up, build our channel up, because we want not only for you to hear us and our beautiful voices, we want you to see this beautiful face too. That's right. So anyways, without further ado, we want to get plugged into this amazing episode that we're about to have, this amazing conversation that we're about to have. My man's all the way from Detroit. Man, we met randomly at this at Raw Sushi when it was open.
Yeah, when it was
now it's closed. Rest in peace. But I was doing DoorDash and I saw this dude here. And anyways, without further ado, my man Isaiah, aka Black Gold. Welcome to the show, man.
Peace.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me, beloved. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome to the show. And how are you? I always like to ask people, like, instead of asking, hey, how are you doing? Like, out of 10, 1 to 10, how are you feeling?
Man, blessed and grateful.
Nice.
Like that's across the board for me.
So that's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 every day.
There we go.
Every day.
There we go. Nice. I love it. And got the jacket on too to match the whole aura, it's gold era.
Hey.
That's his album, by the way. It's a shameless plug.
Thank you.
Yeah, so show everybody real quick. Real quick, what you got, the chain, the ring.
Oh, okay. So this is just my insignia, the black AU.
Yeah.
As you know, AU elemental table for gold. So just keeping it simple, and then matching pinky ring.
That's right.
Boom. That's right.
Is. So, anyways, yeah, like I said, so we met at Raw Sushi, and it's like I don't know how we started talking, but we were just waiting for our orders.
I think we were sitting there. We were saying like, man, does it normally take this long for the food? And just in the process of waiting for the food, we found just a connection, and the time started to fade. And next thing you know, we were building. And he was like, "So what do you do?" And boom, here we are.
That's right. So I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. And then I think I asked about your necklace too. I was like, do you make that, or like how did that come to be? Do you sell it? I was just like, oh, okay. So then he was like, yeah, I sold it. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, where are you from? He's like, oh, I'm from Detroit. Okay, bet. So he was talking about how he's into music and things like that. So let's talk about that. Generally, I like to ask people this question of, well, first of all, are you ready to speak your life?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
What are we here for?
That's
if
right,
not to share the experience,
There's only one reason why we here.
You dig?
So, when we are speaking life, when we're talking about our life, that's life with an L-Y-F-E, because life without your Y is meaningless. So when we're talking about that life, that journey, we're going from, the era of which you were born in, like what was going on. Obviously, one of the songs you talked about being a Reagan baby, so that it's a giveaway to what era you're giving in. But like, talk about that a little bit more in detail, and then give us that journey as to like understanding why you were born.
Let's see. In a nutshell, I mean, came up in Black Bottom, Detroit. So if you know about Black Bottom, Detroit, that's an era where Black businesses were thriving. I mean, like. To say it in the best ways possible, we quite literally ran the city.
Yeah.
We were the economic front there. And then to experience things that also happened in that era, that was a very big, time line of the dope era. So you're talking crack cocaine, you're talking Panther parties, you're talking Reagan. You know what I mean? So I've seen everything from the thrive to the decline. From the gentrification to you know, everything else that ensued after that, to being pushed out of communities, you know, and still having to persevere and seeing people persevere through all that, you know. So when you speak about the Reagan era and being a Reagan baby, you're talking about being a baby who lived through the struggle and didn't stop us.
Okay.
You know, there's a reason why they say, I hear them say it about two places. They say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. But if you can make it in Detroit, man, you can make it anywhere. So yeah, that's
wow,
Reagan baby, man.
Yeah. So and so like when you were, you know, in Detroit growing up and stuff like that, like was there anybody that was in your family that was into music that kind of like inspired you or like got you into music?
Yeah, I come from a family of Baptist Christian. So, you know, you have a lot of vocalists in my family coming up. My grandmother was singing, my uncles played bass guitars, my mother was singing, my father led choirs along with her. So music was a very prominent thing in the household. You heard everything from 45 records spinning to the family getting down. Even at get-togethers, man, the whole neighborhood was just filled with this vibe of music, and we're talking Motown. So let's not forget that. You understand? We Aretha Franklin, like this is the history. You know, so yeah, music, it was a very rich part of my family, and just a rich part of the culture in general being there. You know, so yeah, absolutely came up with a lot of that influence.
And so like, when did you, I don't know, start performing? Like maybe was it like high school, college, like, or I don't know, anytime like
here's a funny thing. When you come up in the family like that, you're always performing.
That's facts.
At get-togethers, they're like, so-and-so could sing this song. Come on, so-and-so. They put you on blast. So you come up performing from a young age. But officially performing, like my first time was probably at a middle school talent show.
Okay.
That's when I was like, oh, yo, this is something that I enjoy. This is something that I love. You know, and then from there, it became an ongoing thing to the point where high school, there was talent shows. High school, we were doing freestyle battles and everything in the hallways. And I think I performed at my first nightclub. I wasn't even old enough to get in. I was like 16 years old, man. Had a manager and was a part of a group called Arctic Circle. Everybody else was my big bros, and they can get in the clubs. But because I was so dope on the mic, they like, yo, can he get in? And they let me in the Rock open mic. So that was like my first time officially performing.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So, and then was it, you know, something that like continued, that helped you continue like through that business? Cause it is a business. The industry is a business. It's not just like you have the creative side, then you have the business side. Like, was there something that kind of helped you continue through like the ups and downs of that whole industry? Like, cause sometimes people, they come in with talent and they come in with like this, you know, this ambition, they come in with this optimism, but then they kind of get jaded through, you know, the whole, I guess, oppositions, the hurdles.
Through the process.
Like that, the business.
Through the process most. That's what you're trying to express. Yeah, man. I mean, look, the best preparation for all of that, if you don't have somebody who's in your corner as a mentor, is the exposure. And you know, it depends on the person too, because being exposed to some things, some people, you know, they can't rise to the occasion and navigate through it. And if you're a person who can really see things for what they are and be true to you, then it makes it a lot easier. But you still have to arm yourself with knowledge, whether it's coming through a mentor, whether you're just doing your due diligence because you feel those things that you're being presented with aren't right. And by right, I mean aren't fair. You can feel that, man. Like there's instances where I've walked into, you know, labels that weren't major labels, and they're like, yo, we want to bring you on, we want to sign you. Flew me out to Cleveland, had me up in some of the most luxurious places, everything paid for, right? And then they slide a contract in front of you and they're like, yo, so look, this is what we're looking for. Of every record sold, we gonna take damn near 95% and you gonna get 5%. And I'm like, oh, y'all didn't know I did math? Y'all didn't know I could read? Nah, I'm not signing that. Well, we gave you 25 G's to come out here and took care of everything. And you can have that 25 G's back. You dig? But most people who never seen those kind of situations or even that kind of money, I'm talking like I'm 21 years old. You about to 25,000 cash? Most people will lose it. They like, all right, whatever, what you want?
Okay.
And I'm like,
it's
too easy. Too easy.
Yeah.
Too easy.
And especially, they take advantage of a lot of, struggling people who come from, very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And, and they're young and they think that $50,000 is a lot of money when it's really not.
It's not.
And even if it was 100 or 200,
It's still
nowadays
not.
it's really, it's not really.
Yeah.
You're going to go through that by buying chains. You're going to be buying Mercedes. You're going to be buying, I don't know, stuff for people who are in your neighborhood who, have their hands up, because everybody going to have their hands up when they find out you signed a record label.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be the new neighborhood hero. So, but anyways, it's good that you realize early, but that was not the route you wanted to take.
Nah.
Yeah.
I when I got into this, for me, I automatically knew that longevity was the key for me. And not just longevity for me.
Yeah.
When I speak longevity, I'm talking about anybody that comes after me, anybody that helped me through this process. Like, I want them to have the same rewards that I have, But that come from being responsible, and that come from hard work. Yeah. So also, I got to make sure that everybody who coming along in this working hard too. Now, obviously, my mama and my folks is like, I want to make y'all wildest dreams come true, but there's still a balance in that too, But yeah, man, this work.
Wow. So you've been an independent artist for how long now?
Let's see. I left the protected records deal that I was in with Universal back in 2008.
2008, okay.
Yeah, so I've been independently doing my thing since then.
Wow, so would you say you've been longer independent than you were with the record label? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because you left them in 2008. When did you start with them?
I started with them in 2003.
Okay.
So I probably spent 5 years, Yeah, and even that was a grueling process when I got into that label.
Okay.
And this was after I left the label in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Coming from LA, it was crazy, man. Wild trip. But that was a process in itself for growth for me. And it also defined for me the direction I needed to take in this with regards to arming myself, with the knowledge. Because I walked into that situation not just as an artist. I walked into that situation as a partner in the label.
Okay.
To the point where I was given title of president for that label. So, that comes with a certain set of duties.
Yeah.
So nobody, man. And you're coming into this situation again with people who had the resources, but they weren't arming themselves with the tools as far as the knowledge to navigate this beast that we call the music business. So as a president, I'm learning how to do things at a young age, like IRSC codes, for bar scanning with the music, to, how to metadata tag and all these things to get the music implemented to systems like Apple, when iTunes was a big thing before it became Apple Music and all that. This is a lot of work, man. A lot of nights up, no sleep, just to understand these things, percentages, splits and things like that with regards to what you get off these records, PROs, like nobody was doing that. I was.
Wow.
Like, everybody else is partying and turning up. I'm like, I gotta know.
To maintain
that
position and just
that longevity.
The longevity you talked about.
Yeah.
Wow. So, was there like a moment that when you were making music, you were just kind of like, you know what, I need to go independent? Like, was there maybe a story behind that, or like what was that breaking point?
Check this out. I was talking to one of my partners one day. We out at lunch, and I was sharing with him the vision, right? Because the whole label at that time was built around the buzz that I had generated as an artist, as a solo artist. And then with that, we brought other artists in. So I want to, make sure I state that, we were really building a huge platform to give people exposure. Yeah. But the moment for me was when I sat down with him, as CFO, his position at the time, and president. Okay. And we had the conversation of direction, future. And I said to him, I was like, I don't want it to be dependent on Universal to distribute our records and tell us when we can put these records out, what records to put out. I was like, that's not music. That's cookie cutter to me. And I was like, we're in a position where we can be the distributor ourselves. We don't need someone to distribute our music. Look at the world. The world is changing, and it's presenting opportunities for us to do that. And my man looked at me, and he was like, I'm not about to work that hard. And I said, oh, for real?
Wow.
All right, I think we're going to go in two different directions. And we did.
Wow.
We did. You don't want to work that hard for the future we're building for not just my family, your family, and generations to come after us and other people's family, to liberate them. That was the whole premise of the records, protected records, for us to be protected against anything that could harm us in the process of building and growing, and protect our artists. And here you're telling me you don't want to give them the security, the freedom. I can't rock with that. I went my own path. I resigned as president of the label and was like, all right, whatever records we got together, we'll keep the splits where they are and we'll move.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
It must have been, would you say that was tough?
It was.
Yeah.
It was, because, you know, you go from a position to where you have this this unit, right? This entity. And of course, again, there's the resource there of having that entity and being able to go to a Universal and say, hey.
Yeah.
And now you step away from that and you're like,
Wow.
I'm doing it on my own. Well, shit, the first thing you notice is you doing it on your own? Yeah, them pockets look a little different.
Yeah.
The way you moving look a little different. So you gotta be really frugal and really think more too, you know, the best ways to get it done with your dollar.
Okay.
You dig? So yeah, that was one of the biggest parts of it. And you're quite literally at that point moving and carrying the load.
Wow.
But I was with it, so.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, you know, whenever you're like, you're growing, you know, you're getting into your purpose and things like that. Excuse me. There's like points of where like you have a crossroads where you just described there, where you're at lunch with your homie, and you can love somebody and like a brother, you can love them like family or whatever. But sometimes, they may not be able to continue that journey with you. And even though that's like, sad to say, or, it's like, it sucks, but otherwise you wouldn't, be where you are, and maybe he needs to be where he is, whatever the case is.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing happens by coincidence, man.
Back. So
yeah, I don't believe in coincidence. I believe everything happens the way it's supposed to, And with regards to what you said too about everybody not being able to take that walk on the journey, I'm a firm believer in everybody ain't supposed to make it. Those that are do. And the goal as a person who takes on that responsibility is to always look back and pull others forward. You know? And I'm like, look, that's what I'm here for. I'm all about the give.
Yeah. No, I respect that. So
love.
That's what's up, because I would say a natural propensity that inclination that people have, especially at least I would say perception wise from the industry, is like people in the music industry, everybody's greedy. Nobody wants to give to anybody. Nobody wants to help anybody out like genuinely. And so it's cool that you had that mindset that's like, it's very different from at least the perceived, or the perception of that industry. So yeah, that's good that you're able to stand out in that way. So I feel like that's gonna pay dividends in the future, because people don't understand the energy you give off is so important. The intentions that you have behind the thoughts, the words, the actions that you have for people. When you're doing business, especially, because it'll come back to either, it will come back to benefit you, or it will come back to haunt you.
Bite you,
It's either two things. It's not like, oh, well, there's no middle thing. There's no middle ground to it. It's like, it's either gonna, help you, or it's gonna hurt you. And in ways that you can never imagine. You can't I look back on things that I've done or helped people with, and I'm like, never even thought about it. And then it helped me years later to help me get an opportunity, or I was just, speaking to, the janitor, or I was just speaking to the secretary. Well, I wasn't really there for, I was really for the other person that, the secretary was working for.
You were there to be of service.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the highest calling right there, man. That's the highest calling, I feel like. You know? And I respect people who endure it. For real, because it takes a different kind of human being. It takes a different kind of spiritual being.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? To really endure that load.
Yeah.
So I'm always happy to connect with brothers like yourself.
Oh yeah.
Who, step up.
Yes, sir.
And actually do. Because people could talk all day, but it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Nothing happens without the do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The idea and the execution.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, respect
also,
for that.
I would also say, to add on to that, like the being as well, because there's sometimes people can do things that are like the right things.
Yeah.
But the being is also just like who you are as well, like because that will show more so in due time. More than just the doing part, because I would say those are both important, but the being is like, it's like shows the difference between that person who's like, I'm just giving a charity just because I want to look good.
Yeah,
I'm doing something good,
Oh,
but
man.
you got the person who's like, I am a charitable person. That's my being.
Yo.
You know what I mean? Like and then that will also show forth in time too. These two paths will split because people are gonna see like, how these two people are different.
Man, who's genuine.
Yeah.
And I know I ain't the first to say this.
Yeah.
But I like to express it, man.
Of
Profits
course.
for profit.
Yeah.
I don't rock with people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, profits for profit. I'm like, you showboating.
Yeah.
You're on your soapbox. You're looking for attention.
Yeah.
Nah, man, the greatest gift is anonymous. Period. So yeah, I avoid people like that at best I can.
Yeah.
But I'm rocking with you on what you said for sure.
Yeah. So real quick, while we're talking about being generous and stuff like that, we're going to talk about how people can learn from the idea of music licensing.
Yeah.
And so real quick, we're just going to pull up a definition, the official definition of music licensing, because not everybody, people have heard that word, but they may not know exactly like what that means. So, all right, let's see what does Webster say about this? Okay, so music licensing is basically the licensed use of copywritten music. Music licensing is intended to ensure that the owners of copyrights on musical works are compensated, that's right, for certain uses of their work. A purchaser has limited rights to use the work without a separate agreement. Yep. So, yeah, so like talk on that and just like, how you learned it, like how you learned the game and how you learned the interworkings of it, because like obviously it's worked out for you.
Dope. So as Webster expressed,
I'm
gonna give it to you bone dry and truncated all the way. Music licensing is you do music, you get paid for it. Period. All right? Easy peasy. Now, the complexity arrives in how do I get paid for it?
Yeah.
All right. So this is where you now have to find your bridge. You have to bridge the gap, I should say, between you and the money that your music can generate and who you're selling it to. Because if you got a service, in order to make money, you got to give it to somebody, right? So that's where artists, writers, producers, et cetera, have to now work. See, people think this music business is just, I'm talented. I put something together and I'm it. Nah. If nobody knows what you got, you ain't selling, marketing, promoting your own product. It means nothing. So now this is where the marketing and promotion gets interesting. Let's say you bring the product to a client now, and you're letting your client sample it, no differently than you would if you had, I don't know, a cookie business. You give your free samples at the flea market, and people are like, oh, let me get a bag of that. Okay, cool. Now you got your client. They like the sample that they tasted. Now you got to produce more. You know what I'm saying? You got where your bag at? Now you got to get in your bag, right?
That's
and
right.
when
Right.
Now here's where it gets even, more business. Now you got to set your price. Your cookies aren't free.
No.
The cost to produce your cookie wasn't free.
Not at all.
And you want to make sure that you make money too, right? And cover your costs of goods and services. So you got to set your price. Most people don't set their price. Now then we get into things like percentages. We call this splits in the music business, right? So the breakdown of a song is always 100%, right? 50% of that is the writing share. 50% of that is the composing share or the production, the beat as people call it, right? That comes together to create a work, all right? Now, depending on how many people are involved in that work as a writer, the splits get thinner. It's like you a boss, you got a business, you got employees, right? Everybody get a share. You cut checks. Same thing on the production side, right? though those splits are determined
Yeah.
amongst the individuals
Okay.
who are involved in the work,
Yeah.
you also now have what we call PROs, performing rights societies, and they will track down where the music is being played, who's using the music, and hold them accountable. These are the people, the clients. They're like your middleman marketer, right?
Okay.
Your
Yeah.
clients who are using your music, and then they'll make sure that they collect those dividends,
Yeah.
right? And they return those dividends back to
The creator.
the creator,
Yeah.
right? Now, if you're the creator who is the publisher of the work, that's another big word we'll get into.
Yeah.
The publisher of the
Okay.
work, then as the publisher of the work, now you have to break it down to the writers, to the producers, and every other person involved in that.
Okay.
And that spans on so many different levels too, but we can get into that.
Yeah.
But let
yeah.
me touch on publisher real quick. The publisher is quite literally like, the publisher is the business
Okay.
of the artist.
Yeah.
All right, because being an artist is a business.
It is.
So your publisher is like the CEO that goes and says, hey,
Yeah.
this is what we got. Boom. And then the client, they cut that check to the CEO. The CEO pays all the underbosses
Gotcha.
or all the workers, right?
Gotcha.
So it's important that we have our publishing in check. And if you're doing publishing, that means you got a real business established. You got a tax ID number.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing taxes and all that. You got quite literally your own little LLC going on. So publishing is your business as an artist. Every artist, every performer, every producer, composer should have a publishing company if they're not working under a publishing company that they trust. And that can be a
Tricky thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because again, you want to trust the people.
Yeah. The
Your customer,
percentages.
your customer giving $1 million over
Yeah.
here to your publishing company, and all they're doing is collecting for you. And here you are, you did all the work.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
But they working too, because it depends on, again, their level of exposure. Because you got some publishers that artists are signed to that can walk you into a Sony.
Yeah.
If you ain't got no liaison that can walk you into Sony, or you don't have a bridge of your own that can walk you into Sony and get that $1 million check directly and cut the middleman out, well, then you need to make sure your publisher compensated, because you're getting business off of his relationship or off of her relationship. I think that deserves a fair cut.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why you see a lot of people who take with these publishing companies who are subletting publishing, man, upwards of 20 to 25%. Because they got the relationships.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the talent is good, but you ain't doing the work, and hard work will beat talent any day.
That's true.
So yeah, but to bridge that gap between how people make money, it's you quite literally have to market yourself and get your product to your people.
People. That's right. What were you gonna say?
Come on. So what the gentleman is asking is, with regards to artists, I'm assuming these are artists who actually own their publishing,
Okay.
selling their publishing.
Yeah.
So we'll hold that thought, and then we're gonna also add into it just people who may own the publishing rights.
Okay.
And when we get into publishing, it's important that we understand what the ownership of that is. That's quite literally the masters. So whatever work was created between the producer and the writers, they all have a share in what's called the masters, ownership of that particular writing. And there's situations where, let's use Michael Jackson as an example. You know, to own a Michael Jackson record, do you know how astronomical the returns on a record like that would be? All right, so we're talking about the person who owns that, the publisher. So to have publishing on a record like that, you're talking like you could bring in $1 million off of one record a year alone and do nothing. And I'm throwing just random numbers out there to make it easy. So when we talk about a person now getting into the realm of selling
Okay.
the publishing or selling the master recording, that means they don't have any say-so on what happens with that record anymore. They can't possibly, depending on the deal they work out, they may not be able to collect residuals, money off the usage of that record any longer. Well, that's like if you got a DeLorean in your driveway, right? And you know you're never going to drive that DeLorean again, but that DeLorean rare.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? It's got the all original everything on it, never even a scratch on the leather. And it's like, damn, I ain't driving it. I could put it in shows and things like that, let people take it for spins and charge them to do that. Do I really want to be bothered with it anymore? Or do I want to sell the title? You know what I'm saying? And okay, cool. I decided I want to sell the title. I want to sell the publishing or the master for this particular record, not even the collective discography, because that can be crazy. But just this particular record or this DeLorean that we selling right now. Well, I set my price. Who willing to pay what? It's like an auction at that point. You know what I'm saying? You willing to pay $100,000 for it? All right, well, I want $200,000 for it. Oh, you willing to pay $200,000 for it? Or somebody probably give me $350,000 for it. Facts. It's rare. You gonna give me $350,000? I want $1 million. It's crazy. But again, it depends on one, if the person wants to sell it, how attached they are to it, and if they don't want to do the work behind it anymore with regards to collecting it, shopping it. You're a publisher. You still gotta put that out there. And if it's a record that's that huge, people are coming to you for it. Prime example, you see people adding things to their Instagram stories every day, and it tells you who the artist is and what the song is. That's metadata tagging. We'll get into that in a minute too. That's extremely important because that's how the PROs, performing rights organizations, track that for the publishers. All right. But that's huge, and it can be, again, man, it can be as low as $100,000, $5, like who knows? Wow. And it all boils down to what the person values it at, and who owns it too.
Wow, because I know Future, he had sold his masters for like, between his catalog like 06 and 2020 for like, what was it, 65? It was between like 65 or 75 million, something like that. I would have thought it'd been more than that because Future, he's a big name. I would have thought at least $100 million. That's what I'm thinking. But hey, he made his deal. So
and again, he owned it. He decided, 75 sounds nice. Cool. I'm gonna take that. Y'all gonna pay that? Cool. You know, he could have got less. They could have walked him down. You know what I'm saying? But he knew his worth for that particular body of work. And then too, humbly, I believe that, again, I'm still active. I'm still cutting records. I'm gonna have more music. I love doing this. This particular body of work may not have been the one that he felt like was his baby. A lot of people hear Jay-Z talk about Reasonable Doubt a lot of the times, right? That's his baby. If you come at him for that body of work, he's a billionaire. Expect to pay a high price. If he even wants to sell it.
Because it's not even, sometimes it's not even about money.
It ain't.
Because he has money. Like, you don't need your money. It's just about like nostalgia or just like a emotional connection to
Watch
the
this
music.
though. Deeper than that. And this is the one thing that a lot of artists don't know about too. So I have a background in life insurance. You know what I'm saying? Like I was at one point a life insurance agent, licensed across the board, could operate in 50 states. All right. But with that, you learn all the different ways to keep money in the family. And you learn different wealth. How do I say it? You learn different wealth strategies, one, but vehicles. You learn different wealth vehicles to grow money in a very tax-free way, and then be able to pass them on to your family, your tertiaries, your beneficiaries, and all those things. Well, no different than with music when it comes to those royalties and those splits. We're talking about ownership of something that collects money long after we're dead. A Michael Jackson record, we're talking about flipping, the publishing on. This is something he could have passed to his family. People still playing Michael Jackson on the radio, still seeing the metadata tag for Michael Jackson records on Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc. Oh, there's money coming behind that. Facebook, what, $1 billion company? Instagram about up there now, TikTok up there. So these people have to pay for those streams that people are generating through playing this music. Well, where does that money go? Who owns the publishing? You see? So this is wealth planning right here we're talking about. So a move for $75 million for Future right now to extract his wealth, his investment, think stock, extract his investment early. Maybe that was a good play for him versus leaving it in the market and letting it do what it do over time Maybe he would have saw that 75 million, maybe he won't. But whomever bought it, they're thinking further ahead. They're like, I got a Future catalog. This is gonna still be playing long after Future is gone and long after I'm gone. My family's gonna still be accruing wealth off of Future records in the future. You feel me? So this whole splits, royalties, publishing thing, it's deeper than that. You know, and if you're just looking to get a quick buck in the now, you're missing it. You're missing it.
That's why, like, you know, when you at first talked about that, you know, I was very intrigued because you told me that you had some songs like that were in different shows or movies.
Shows.
Which shows and movies. He has to think about it.
Actively, I have a catalog, and people gonna probably look at me after they hear this like, damn. And I have an active catalog, and I'm novice if I'm naming my catalog, because just think about people who really been in it longer than me. I have an active catalog of over 150 songs, placed, licensed, and synced that get used in countries I ain't never heard of.
But that's
you dig? Like. So that shows you how far the music goes and how much money is involved from just other places, you know? And man, it's like every quarter, which is what the year is broken down into. You get your 3-month quarters, right? Every quarter, residuals coming in. Every quarter, people watching something on Netflix, people watching something on Hulu, people listening to something on Spotify, you know? So at this point now, we're talking about money coming in from movies like a Russell Crowe movie, the Promotion. You know, no, it was The Next 3 Days. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the Promotion with Russell Crowe. The Next 3 Days with Woody Harrelson. You know, these are famous actors that people know. I ain't never met them. I just got music placed by the grace of God, and you know, benefit from my hard work and planting those seeds. Man, everything from TV shows like Girlfriends. Chelsea Grammer wrote that, you know, like, and when that ran, that was dope. So I mean, and the list just goes on with the placements. You never know where that music is going or who needs music for what they may be doing, and you know what music may fit what project. So people get discouraged a lot of times, like, oh, my beat sound oh no, this song ain't really put it out. Let somebody else decide.
Yeah, because you know, there's a lot of songs that weren't supposed to make certain albums, or like, you know, like they would have never like seen the light of day if people never gave it a chance. You know, I'm trying to think of this song from Marvin Gaye. What's Going On? That wasn't supposed to make the album. That was supposed to be put out to the public. It's a lot of songs that, like, you know, maybe let somebody else hear it. Don't be the one that says like, all right, you think it's like, nah, like, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, let the public decide.
And that's the thing too. Like, a lot of as creatives, we're always very attached, emotionally to our work.
It's
you know,
sensitive.
And it don't matter what you're creating, man. You know, podcast. You want to make sure your podcast is the flyest, and it's giving people information. You understand? Like, value. That's what it is, because that's what we're really selling at the end of the day. When we sell ourselves, we're selling our value, and people are buying into the value that they see in us, and that's what keeps them coming back. You see what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you're giving value, man, and that's like one of the things that people miss. But also, you don't know how valuable what you have to offer to someone is, which is what we're talking about, if you don't share.
That's true.
They determine that for themselves. You did your work, now let your work speak.
Wow. So, it was another thing you were talking about a little bit. You said you were going to get into this later on camera. Was it something about publishing, an aspect of that? Or
we broke down publishing.
Remind me.
Dang.
I can't even think.
I think we said publishing. I know we were talking about the splits.
It was like something you were like, I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But that's okay.
That just means we get a whole nother cast.
That's right.
We get to really dive in.
That's right, a part 2. That's right. But yeah, no, that's good stuff though. Like, I mean, because, you know, I meet guys in barbershops, and I remember like one particular moment, like I met this dude. He's like, you know, I was like, he was trying to tell everybody about his music. Oh yeah, follow me on Spotify, like trying to promote my music. And, you know, he was kind of going about it like the old school way of like, you know, promoting himself like as if he was handing out CDs in the barbershop.
Grassroots is dope.
Which is fine.
It's personable.
But he was also talking about like contemplating a record deal, but I'm just like, you don't have to do the record deal if you don't want to, and you can still make money. And I was trying to tell him about what you were telling me about the music licensing business and the sync licensing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because like there are people who like, you know, you don't have to be Jay-Z or whatever like that, a Drake to be making money off of like all these, you know, publishing deals that you've made.
Yeah.
So people, I think sometimes people get so caught up on like, well, I got to be Instagram verified, blue check mark, you know, 1 million followers and all this. And like, I mean, that's cool.
Sure.
But that's not like, you don't have, that's not like, you know, the prerequisite or like, you got to do that for like this to happen. You know what I mean?
And that's mindset and exposure.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have the exposure to these things and you're not actively, you know, seeking the knowledge through listening to podcasts like Speak Your Life and, you know, additional people who touch base on, you know, this information that's available everywhere now.
That's true.
Then you won't, even if you have it, you still have to be the person to take the steps. We'll talk about doing. But it makes it a lot easier to take informed steps and make the informed decisions. And then, you know, a lot of people who are getting involved into this music, they've seen the machine so long to where they're like, the only way I make it is if I have a blue check.
Yeah.
The only they're setting standards for their success.
Yeah.
You know, based upon what they're seeing all the time.
That's true.
And it's like, nah,
Yeah.
pull the curtain back. Because I always like to tell people this. Behind every building that you see erected in front of you, there was a blueprint. Behind every blueprint, there was a designer. And that designer sat down at that table one day with something as simple as a piece of scrap paper and a pencil, and they did this.
Yeah. Wow.
Before it even became the thing you bend your neck and go, wow. At.
Yeah.
So you got to get active on that part, the process. And people are so in love with the results. So they mark their success on it. If I don't have a blue check, I didn't make it. If I don't have 1 million followers, I didn't make it.
Yeah, I'm like,
If I'm not rocking stages, I didn't make it. And I'm like,
it's
bruh,
man. You can,
do you sleep at night?
yeah, peace.
Do you have peace of mind?
Yeah.
Are your bills paid? Can you help people if they need it? If you can answer those boxes and check those off, I say you're doing pretty great.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
pretty great.
That's the check marks that matter, and those things you just listed right there. So, you know, but when I was talking to him in the barbershop, like I was like, you know, maybe, and I was showing him the website links you had showed me. Like, you know, I was like, bro, you should check these out. And I was like, yo, take a picture of this because, you know, this could help you out, you know, with what you're doing. Just submit, you know, to different places and see what happens. You never know. So hopefully, I hope he acted on it. I haven't seen him since, but like, you know, it's stuff like that where like, you know, it makes me realize where there's a lot of people, you know, especially in our community that we're like, it's crazy because we're, you know, in certain like genres, we're producing the most music, we're having the most creativity in these, but we're making the least amount of money. And the people who don't look like us are making more money off of our creativity that we thought of and have the intellectual property to begin with.
So let's tap on that.
It don't even make sense.
Again, arming ourselves and then doing the work.
Yeah.
Look, somewhere in the world there's some little pop artist. I don't want to say little. There's some artist who's doing pop. Or whatever genre they're doing. Sure. Or somebody's even creating a whole new genre, right?
That's true.
And they're not afraid to take the steps that it takes to get the music exposed to people. They're not afraid to spend the nights up, you know, inside the house doing the research when everybody else is out turning up. Man, if I told you how many nights I wanted to go out and hang and do all that and was like, nope, ain't nobody gonna do this but me. I digress. They're taking those steps. And when you see them, you're gonna be like, how they come up overnight? You watching the overnight, you ain't see the process. Do the process, do the work. You know, and people are afraid to do that. Afraid to take the first step.
Because it's like, you know, it requires time, it requires attention, focus, dedication, discipline, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what separates people who, you know, are making it versus the people who are just, you know, not. So
truly.
And making it is that's a very broad definition.
Subjective.
Because, like, you know, making it could be like, all right, you know, I'm good, I can travel the world at my own schedule, like, you know, maybe I'm not Drake, Kanye, or who are, you know,
but I'm liberated.
Lamar, but
I feel free.
Yeah, I'm not, you know, bound by the shackles of a record label that's, you know, hovering over my shoulders, making sure I get, you know, send the albums out at their timeline. So, you know,
because look, them some slippery slopes too. I seen artists signing record labels who, you know, quite literally aren't producing, and they get them bills, and it's like, all right, what, you thought this was free?
Yeah, it's a loan. This is a loan. That advance is a loan. That's what we need to remind people. It's a loan. It's not like free money. There's no such thing as free money.
For us to cut these lights on, for us to get this engineer in here, for us to play this producer that you wanted to work with, that costs. He got a fee.
That's right. Yeah, it's crazy because, you know, and as we, you know, close and everything like that, like I remember being at my uncle's restaurant and just like helping out in the back, just, you know, and there's one of the cookers, he was like this teenager, he was like maybe like 17 or something like that, but he had talked to me about, like, I was just, you know, chopping up with him, getting to know him. He was like, yeah, I want to do music and stuff like that, and he's like, yeah, like, check out my tape and I'm on Spotify, yada yada yada, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I talked about, you know, are you, you know, signing a deal? Like, what you got going on? And then he was like, yeah, they give me 50,000, man. Like, I said, 50,000? That's it?
That's it.
He said, man, that's a lot. I said, no, bro, you're 17 years old.
Buy a
I
house.
get it. I get it. It's a lot. See, it was a lot to me at 17 too.
I get it.
But I'm just like, bro, that ain't a lot of money.
No.
Like, I'm telling you, I said, and I asked him, have you signed it yet? He's like, no, I haven't, but I'm like, I really want to do it. I was like, dude, I was trying to talk him out of it. I was like, dude, like, you can do this without signing a deal. Like, there's so many opportunities that you can, you know, if you connect with the right people, like, and you know, do your research on YouTube, you don't have to sign a deal. You can make 50,000 or more, you know, without the deal, because that is a loan. I kept
One
trying to tell
placement
him.
can get you that. You know, depending on who you get it with.
That's true.
One placement can play that. That's
true. So, but anyways, you know, as we close, we like to ask, you know, the question of, like, if life was a representative, and it was like the representative of a house, like it was a symbolism for a house. What is one foundational pillar your house, your life would stand on?
Without a shadow of a doubt, faith. And yeah, look, man.
Yeah.
Faith.
Yeah.
If you don't believe, what you doing? What you got? You know, if you don't have faith, what you got? Because faith is that motivator when all things seem impossible. That lets you know that it is possible. Faith, man.
Yeah.
Period.
Nice. That's a good one.
It dissolves all fears. It unclouds ambiguity. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah, and it's something that you know, you can't. It's having a strength, even though you cannot see the muscle that's really there, that you already have. You already possess it. You just don't even know it.
Yeah, so, and it's beautiful that you said you don't know it too, because faith is the blind know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a huge believer in, we know what we are supposed to do when we arrive here, and we let the mind trick us.
Yeah.
So for me, it's all faith.
Yeah.
Period.
That's good. And the last question is like question of the day, where we ask a random question, and you know, if there was like any like movie or TV show series out there that maybe is one of your favorites that you would love to have a publishing deal with, what show or what movie would it be?
Shameless plug. There's a beautiful movie coming out called Puncher's Chance. Actually, it's a pilot that's going to Netflix called Puncher's Chance, and it's shot by an incredible director and actor, Garland Scott. I actually had the pleasure of syncing music with this project, and I'm really excited about it because I want to experience all the work that we put into it as now a person who's receiving it for the first time versus someone who was there on the set, you know, and just involved in the hands-on. It's like you actually get to enjoy the fruit of the labor that you were involved in. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited for everybody else to hear it too, or see it and hear, you know, the whole tone of the project as well as the music and things that are involved in it. It's a great story. He's a great writer. And as a person who values the art of writing, it's just a pleasure to link with somebody who has such vision. Vision for real, and they execute.
Nice. Well,
I'm excited for that.
Nice. So, anyways, well, all that being said, make sure you check out his music. Where can they find you on Spotify,
You
Instagram?
can search anywhere, Black AU. Easy. If you know AU on the periodic table and you know the color black, find me, Black AU, everywhere.
And then on Spotify, I think it's Black and A.U. period. So,
For sure.
Yeah. But
just Google that thing, it come up.
Connect with him. We'll leave the links below for the music licensing if you're interested in that. That's maybe you're in the music industry, you're trying to figure out a way to make money, and maybe you're just, I don't know, you're struggling and you're just trying to like get over that hump to pay bills, to take care of your family, stuff like that. That's a way you can maybe get to that point of your life.
For sure. I'm here.
Yeah. So, anyways, connect with Isaiah here. Like I said, on Instagram or wherever you can find a connection. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for being a part of this episode. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, bro.
Man, appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Anytime we link up, it's a good time.
That's right.
We build.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Woo, man, I gotta get some water. It's great. Especially when it's like great conversation. But anyways, y'all, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, Speak Your Life, Speak Your Lyfe, because life without your why is meaningless. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Make sure you are on plugged in with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, especially on YouTube. We are really trying to grow the YouTube channel because I love audio, but I love the visual aspect as well. You get to see our faces. You get to see us having this conversation that you can be a part of. We want you to be a lifer today. So go ahead and hit that red button. You're hesitating. I know you are, because the reason why I know you are is because I looked at the data and it said that 20% of the people who are watching these videos are subscribed. That means 80% are not. So go ahead and be part of that percentage that's growing. So anyways, we'll see you on the next episode. Peace. All right. Man, thank you.
Pleasure, bro. Pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You made it happen.
Absolutely, brother. I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Yeah.